Welcome back, scientists, to the last part of this week's science challenge. It's the week beginning Monday the 11th of January, and hopefully you will have already planned your science challenge, you will have carried out your experiment, and now you're looking at this video to see how you can review and evaluate your science challenge. So let's have a look and see what I mean. Okay, so let's remind ourselves of our challenge question for the week. How long could you keep Olaf alive if he visited you at home? Now, we talked about how Olaf is a snowman and how in order to keep him alive, we need him to stay frozen for as long as possible. So that was our challenge for the week. And if you remember, there was one rule. Can you remember what that rule was? That's right, we were not allowed, children, to use the freezer or the fridge to help us. We had to be a lot more creative than that, didn't we? Okay, in a moment, I'm going to show you our new gateway that we've been looking at. Can you pause the video and see if you can remember it? Yes, that's right. Our new gateway is Explorers. Follow my passions and seek challenges in order to aspire to be the best version of myself. And these key questions are going to be really important to us today as we review how we've got on in our science challenge and reflect on what we found challenging, what we've improved on, and what we could do even better next time. So to start us off with our review part or our reflection, I just want you to think about, can you answer our learning question now? Can you tell me how long you can keep Olaf alive at home? You might want to make me a video. You might want to draw me a picture or send in a photograph of your work so that you can answer our learning question. Brilliant, children. So hopefully we've got an answer to our question here. Okay, hopefully we've answered that question in some way. And now we want to think about how well we did. How well did we challenge ourselves? And how much of our work do we think is the best it could be? Could we make it even better? Okay, let's have a look and see. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video and with your team, whoever was on your team, whether it be your grown-up or your brothers and sisters, can you think about how have you guys challenged yourselves? Let's pause the video and have a talk about that with your team. Okay, children, so maybe you had to try lots of different ways of keeping Olaf nice and frozen. Maybe your first attempt didn't work very well. Maybe you thought, oh, I'll have another go at that one. Maybe you've been writing your notes and your thoughts down and you've been thinking about your writing target to challenge yourself to get better at writing as well. Maybe you've had to be really creative. Maybe you didn't have very much in your house and you've had to think of different materials to use this week that you had around the house. So I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit now about how you've challenged yourself. Maybe you'd like to tell a grown-up. Maybe you'd like to write a message to your teacher on Dojo to let them know how you've challenged yourself. Well done. So next of all, let's have a think. What score would I give myself out of 10? So here, children, I've got a little kind of a thermometer that tells me, did I do not very well at all, a number 1, not very well at all? Did I challenge myself a little bit? Or did I really challenge myself and go back and try again and really think about how I could be the best I could be? So I just want you to think, how much effort did you put into challenging yourself, children? Okay, so I'm going to give myself about a number 7 because actually when I started, children, I had to think about really hard about what I wanted to use, and I realised I didn't have very much kitchen roll or toilet roll. So then I thought, oh, what else could I use? And I used some wrapping paper from Christmas time to help keep Olaf alive. So I was really creative and I challenged myself to use some different materials. So I'd say about a 7. Okay? So I've given myself a 7. Once you've got a score, let's have a think about how we can make it even better. How could I get a number 8 next time? So it says, what would I do differently to improve my score? Now, next time, children, you might think, oh, I didn't really challenge myself to write my thoughts down very much. Maybe you drew pictures mainly. That's okay. But maybe next time you could challenge yourself to do a bit of writing. Or maybe you forgot some full stops in your writing when you were thinking about your results. So maybe next time you might think, oh, actually, I'm just going to check my work before I send it to my teacher, just to make sure it's the best it can be. So next time I'm going to give myself an 8 because I'm going to check my work. So in summary, children, to review your science challenge, I'd like you to think about, how have you challenged yourself this week? I'm sure you've challenged yourself in lots of ways. Maybe you made a video to share your answers and you've never done that before. Or maybe you were the team captain this week and you had to help the other people in your team to work on the science challenge. Then I'd like you to think about a score. What score would you give yourself out of 10? And then the last thing I'd like you to think about is, what would you do differently to improve your score? So not to get a number 10, but just to get the next number in the scale. What small thing would you change or make better so that you could get the next number on the scale? Thinking about perhaps planning your science experiment really well. Maybe next time you would have a few more materials to test, perhaps. Okay, so those are the questions I'd like you to think about today. And if you're really feeling like a challenge, maybe you can write me an answer, or maybe you can film a video answering those questions. I'd love to see your reflections on our science challenge this week. Okay, there will be a prize for the best science challenge this week. So I wonder if you and your team are going to win the prize. See you soon. Bye-bye, scientists.